An API gateway is an essential component of modern application architectures, especially in microservices and serverless environments. It acts as a single entry point for client requests, handling API calls, and routing them to the appropriate backend services. Here's a quick breakdown of how an API gateway works and its major components. For more tech interview materials, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. How an API gateway works, step by step. 1. Client request. A client, mobile app, web app, or other services, makes an API request to the API gateway. 2. Routing. The API gateway determines which backend service should handle the request based on predefined rules. 3. Authentication and authorization. The gateway verifies if the request is allowed by checking credentials or tokens, e.g., via OAuth, API keys. 4. Request transformation. The request might be reformatted or enriched with additional data before being forwarded to the backend service. 5. Load balancing. If multiple instances of a service are available, the gateway distributes the request to balance the load. 6. Response aggregation. If the response requires data from multiple services, the gateway gathers, processes, and combines them. 7. Return to client. The API gateway sends the processed response back to the client. Below are the major components. 1. Routing and traffic management. Directs requests to appropriate backend services based on endpoints and rules. Supports dynamic or static routing. 2. Authentication and authorization. Manages user access by validating tokens, API keys, or credentials. Supports standards like OAuth 2.0, JWT, JSON Web Tokens, and OpenID Connect. 3. Rate limiting and throttling. Limits the number of requests per client to protect backend services. Prevents abuse or accidental overloading. 4. Load balancing. Distributes incoming requests across multiple backend instances to ensure even workloads. 5. Caching. Stores frequent responses to reduce latency and load on backend services. 6. Request and response transformation. Modifies headers, formats, or payloads for compatibility between clients and backend services. 7. Monitoring and logging. Tracks request metrics, performance, and errors. Helps with debugging, analytics, and compliance. 8. Security features. TLS termination. Handles SSL/TLS encryption to reduce backend workload. WF. Web Application Firewall protects against common attacks, e.g., SQL injection, XSS. Popular API gateway tools include 1. AWS API Gateway, fully managed service by Amazon Web Services. 2. Kong, open source, cloud-native API gateway. 3. Apigee, API management tool by Google Cloud. 4. Azure API Management, Microsoft's API gateway solution. 5. Nginx, versatile tool that can act as an API gateway. 6. Spring Cloud Gateway, Java-based, designed for microservices using Spring Boot. Benefits of using an API gateway are: 1. Simplified client experience. Clients interact with a single endpoint rather than multiple microservices. 2. Increased security. Centralized enforcement of security policies. 3. Scalability. Efficiently distribute requests and handle high traffic loads. 4. Flexibility. Easily modify request routing without changing client code. 5. Performance optimization. Features like caching and rate limiting improve response times. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview materials, please go to our website at bowsy8.com.